Welcome to the latest edition of Northern Engineers Power Talks. Today we have the pleasure of speaking to Andy Turner, who is the Sales and Operations Manager at SEW-EURODRIVE, which is based in Normanton, West Yorkshire, and they're leaders in drive technology. Welcome, Andy. It's absolutely great to have you on the show today. Can we start by you just telling us a little bit about SEW-EURODRIVE and your role there, please?
Yes, sure. I'm actually the operations director now. There's been a slight change since obviously.
Congratulations. Brilliant.
But I think so, for my sins. So as you touched on there, we are based in Normanton. We're a German-owned company. We've been in Normanton since 1969. We like to think we're an industrial leader in drive technology, and this encompasses motors, gearboxes, automation solutions, driving all things from conveyor belts to airport sort of plants, your fairgrounds, and mainly most Amazon sites, things like that. So it's vast and varied.
Okay, and just a little bit more about the history of the company. You're now based at Normanton,
Yes.
and your workforce has steadily grown over the years. You were set up.
So we were set up in 1969. Originally, we moved into the old police station in Normanton, and I believe the sales office was actually in one of the cells to begin with.
Wow.
We quickly grew out of that and moved to I'd say a purpose-built factory, but it was an old typical concrete factory that we quickly expanded. And then we got to the point of expansion where there was nowhere else for us to go. And in 2013, we actually moved into the factory we're in today. And now we have, I think it's 100,000 square feet of factory on a 5-acre plot. And we've only developed around 3 acres. So we've got a bit of expansion to go if necessary. At the moment, we tend to stock over around 5,000 components. The stock value fluctuates monthly depending on usage, but it's anywhere between £5.5 and £6 million. We don't actually open 24 hours a day, but we do offer a 24-hour call-out service. So we are the service provider, if you like. If you have a problem in the night, you can pick up the phone and you can get a unit from us at any time of the day.
Okay, fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do for a company like Amazon?
So yeah, Amazon, it's just a bit of a complex one because there's sort of 3 different factories for Amazon. So I think you have the sortation centers and then the distribution hubs and then the smaller, further distribution hubs. Our main involvement is in the sortation centers. So you can imagine all the products would come into Amazon from the various suppliers. And these things have to be either been picked from a shelf, put in a conveyor, packaged, shipped out the door. They may come in on a very large box and then distributed. And then by the time they leave and go out to the customer, it might be something the size of a shoebox. So it's a varied sort of torque load profile that's required in the products that we provide to them. And obviously we offer quite a lot of ongoing support with upgrades and sort of system surveys, making sure that they know what they've got on site and we can supply what they've got on site should they need it.
Thanks. Can you tell us a little bit about the sort of opportunities in the market at the moment?
I was hoping you could tell me about the opportunities in the market. No.
Well, it's sort of the current trends you're seeing in the market then.
Everybody will talk about Industry 4.0, and I think we've more or less been through that now. Where we're seeing is a sort of push towards digitalization. So in terms of how that's sort of translating into the market, we're seeing it in terms of factory software. And that typically comes in line with the advent of AI and the introduction of AI. People are now expecting AI to analyze their systems and make minor improvements much, much quicker than any human could. So what we are seeing now is people want sort of a cloud-based orchestration, and we have tools that can sort of support this with our sort of software-defined factory automation. What that will allow is basically somebody would commission a plant, it would be operational, and then AI is now looking at that saying, how can we make small gains? How can we make tiny adjustments to improve things? And that's somewhere I see the future of sort of software-defined factories are developing, and especially with the introduction of AI and things like that.
So within the next sort of 10 years, how do you see the sort of AI side developing in practical terms with your business?
In practical terms, in the UK, it tends to be sort of late adopters of this kind of automation, and historically we resist any sort of mass advance forwards. But I think if you look at AI in any industry now, the speed at which it's come on, it can't be resisted anymore. I think we've got to adopt it. I think we've got to, obviously I'm conscious that, people will say AI are taking jobs. Well, they said that when robots would come. They said that when AGVs would come. Somebody's got to
Industrial revolution.
Exactly. And people will always be needed. Somebody's got to fix the machine. Somebody's got to program these machines. Somebody's got to tell AI what to do. Granted, we don't want it becoming self-aware, but
Well, that's coming, isn't it?
it is coming.
AGI.
But we've just sort of encompass it and sort of embrace it to some degree. I think rather than resist it and fear it, let's use it to the best of our ability.
Okay, and some of these the strands will be linked, but what do you see as the main challenges over the next 10 years?
For me personally, it's recruitment more than anything. Obviously, we have, as a global company, we've got a keen eye on sustainability and circular economy and things like that. And resources are becoming fewer and fewer. Certain countries are, perhaps controlling resources that we may need, and they may restrict access to that. So we need to look at where can we reuse the resources that we already have out on the market. And we're looking at that with simple things like our brake carriers on the motor. We actually get to the point where we're recycling those now because it's cheaper to recycle than it is to manufacture new. So the fact that, repairs of particular components rather than buying new, there'll always be a cost break where it's cheaper to buy new than it is to repair. But at some point, we've got to kind of appreciate that, these resources are becoming not fewer and far between, but more and more expensive and more difficult to find. And ultimately, we've got to reuse what's out there in the world now to make sure that we've got things left for the future.
Andy, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. We've got a really good overview of the business and the current opportunities and threats in the marketplace. So thank you very, very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you too.